Now, then let's come to the thorax. When you come to the thorax, they're doing a cross section of the thorax, and you can see the heart in the mid position.
Okay.
On both sides, you can see the lung. Okay. Most people during a basic scan, you need not see more than the fact that the heart is in the mid position and the heart is beating and get the heart rate. But some experts will actually be able to do a fetal echocardiography of the scan. 4-chamber view, off-road 3-vessel view, all that is possible, but no need to attempt it if you're just doing basic scan. For that, we need to go into the cardiac. Right. Then, one other thing which we can easily see at this stage is the situs of the fetus. The abdominal situs and the cardiac situs. The stomach should be on the left side, the heart should also be on the left side. Now, let's look at it. That's the stomach. Okay, so this is the left side of the baby, and look at the heart also on the left side. See you can put color on the heart now, and it will show there. So the heart apex is pointing towards the left side, the stomach is on the left side, so it's like that. See how much of information we got. We got information about the head, we got information about the situs, we got information about all the 4 limbs. We found stomach was all right, so the baby is swallowing well. And the baby's kidneys have started functioning inside the bladder was. Now, what is left out is spine and face. Now, let's look at the fetal spine. Let's look at the fetal spine, please. Take off the color and then go for the fetal spine. It's an advantage if the baby is facing upside down for the fetal spine. Otherwise, we just wait for this is the coronal view of the spine. A little bit there fitting now.
Spine, okay.
Then, that's the coronal view of the spine.
Zoom.
It's important to go and see the entire spine. Oh, now we are getting the NT, so better do that now. So we are going to do some opportunistic imaging. Baby is now facing up, and because it is facing up, we are getting a mid-sagittal view of the face. It's already turned up, so now we can't do it anymore. So let's go for the spine. Yeah, that's the spine which is seen well. That's the coronal view of the spine. You can actually see the spinal cord inside when you zoom out. That's the spinal cord going through. Right. So that leaves the face. Now when you look at the face, can you do the coronal view of the face to show us the premaxillary triangle? So when I'm seeing the coronal view of the face, I draw your attention to this white line which is coming in. This is the chin. This is the chin. This line which you see is the premaxilla. This is the premaxilla. Can you show the face a little bit more? Yeah. Yes.
Okay. The eyes. That's.
See, now you can see the orbits. That's the nose. And that's the mouth.
Okay, correct.
Right? So this is the premaxilla, and the presence of the premaxilla tells you that there is no cleft palate.
That there is no
cleft palate.
Okay.
So early pregnancy, 12-13 weeks between the cleft palate and the premaxilla.
No, I like gynae more interesting.
Okay, that's a triangle. You can see that triangular space there. That's called as the premaxillary triangle. Premaxilla, the 2 nasal bones on both sides. Yes?
It's a situs invertus. How about the sides, whether it's left or right? You see the stomach as well.
See, it's very easy to see. When you can you do a long X of the fetal space? Depending on how the baby is lying, we can find out which side the baby is. So if it's a longitudinal, if it's lying bridge, then spine, stomach, portal vein. I'll show it to you in the second trimester scan. It's much easier to see. Spine, stomach, portal vein comes in the anti-clockwise direction. In the second trimester scan,
stomach, portal vein.
Okay, so I think we have done a reasonable first trimester scan, except of course for the nuclear translucency, and the baby is now not seeming to show the position for the nuclear translucency. If it can, then if it cooperates a little bit, we'll be able to see it better.
There is no translucency.
You're trying for that. Okay, you do one thing, you keep trying for that. And once you are ready, you please screen. So we'll go with some theory here on 11 to 14 weeks scan. So that we'll save time.
Okay.
Just to tell you that it takes a bit of an effort to get the nuclear translucency, and
Drinky.
we need not keep you waiting for that. Can you switch over while they get the entry visual?
Drinking.
Switch over to that. Okay, doesn't matter. So this concept of the second trimester scan, the first trimester scan, the 11 to 14 week, I wanted to look at all this, and this actually tells you about how the whole thing evolved. When it was described several years ago, more than 10, 11 years ago, it was called as the 10 to 14 week scan. Okay? Then it became the 11 to 14 week scan. And then people realized that they were doing from 11 weeks to 14 weeks, 6 days, or 14 completed weeks. And then it was found that the sensitivity of the test is not good at 14 weeks, 6 days. So they said you start doing it at 11 to 13 weeks, 6 days. Okay. Then now the Fetal Medicine Foundation has converted to the 11 to 13 week scan, which is more realistic, I feel, because 11 weeks to 13 weeks, essentially after 13 weeks, 6 days. But if you want a number to work with, when the CRL of the fetus is between 45 to 84 millimeters. CRL of 84 millimeters is actually 14 weeks, 3 days. But we call it as 11 to 13 week scan, because that's the way it has been described. Now the objectives are pregnancy dating, screening for aneuploidy, especially Down syndrome, detect major anomalies, and possible evaluation of a screening test for preeclampsia. So here you can see pregnancy dating and then all the aneuploidy markers which are there. The challenges are the technique has to be absolutely perfect for this. There is no compromise on the technique, especially when you do the nuclear translucency. We need to understand screening concepts, because once you say nuclear translucency, you are actually entering into a different area of patient management, which is called screening. You never do a nuclear translucency. Nuclear translucency measured 1.4 appeared normal. That's totally wrong. Because once you measure a nuclear translucency, the interpretation of the nuclear translucency has to go through a different route altogether for it to have any meaning. Right? Then so you have to enter into a Down syndrome screening program. Only then this is going to be of value. Okay. Now best method of dating the pregnancy certainly is CRL. As I told you, the accuracy is provided for 5 to 7 days, provided proper technique is followed. Now here's a fetus which has got a CRL of 3.8, CRL of 4 and CRL of 5.1. It's not showing up there. No. CRL of 5.1. Okay. So that means this is eligible for first trimester screening. This is not eligible for first trimester screening. The interpretation of gestational age is different from CRL 3.8 to 5.1. So if never take it in the flex position, make sure there's fluid between the chin and the chest. So the second thing is, we find that when you are doing your interpretation of your nuclear translucency depends on the CRL measurement. Because for every CRL, there is a nuclear translucency measurement which is norm, there's a norm for them. 5th centile, 50th centile and 95th centile. So for CRL of 5 centimeters, the NT 1.5 will be 50th centile. So if your CRL is wrong, then your NT interpretation becomes wrong. That's why you need to be, the CRL should be perfect. Then we talk about maternal age and Down syndrome. Every mother has got an inherent risk of having a baby with Down syndrome, which we call as a priori risk or baseline risk. But 70% of Down syndrome will be born to mothers below 35 years of age. Certainly, as mothers' age goes, the incidence of Down syndrome is going to increase. But certainly, it's about 1 in 1,325 years to 1 in 50 and 42 years. So, the risk increases with age, but majority of the Downs will form